Hello, hello. Welcome to another Make It Monday. How's it going, Stamper fans? My name is Nan Gerlitz. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am live here on my Facebook page every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. So I'm so glad you're here to join me. If you are watching live, welcome, welcome. Drop a comment in there. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you find some good tips and tricks and just good new information. That's my goal here every week, is to just give you a little something new, maybe teach you something, right? That's kind of the point. So tonight we have my winning card. Hello, Penny. We have my winning card from Friday Night Stampin'. If you are new here and not familiar, my husband and I have a friendly competition every Friday where we both come down in the studio. We make a card. I post them here on the Facebook page for your votes. And on Monday, I reveal which one of us made the winning card. And that was me again. I think that's 3 weeks in a row. I'm on a streak now. So I will say we had the Grand Boys overnight Thursday and Friday night. So if you were here on the page Friday, you saw that we had some guest stampers. We had the boys come down and make bookmarks. So that was really fun. They had a blast. And actually, Jeffrey, the older one, has been loving to hang out in the studio for a while now. And he was a little more reluctant, but now he's like, let's go make projects. He wants to come down and stamp too. So it's pretty fun. Jeffrey, I think, would spend a lot of time down here if I let him. So that's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, so let me flip the camera down and we will get started on stuff. I can't remember which. There we go. Like I've never done this before or something. Okay, so it is March, mid-March already, unbelievably. I actually have exciting news. I know Penny knows already because we know the same people. I am heading back in my full-time position, my day job, if you will. I'm heading back to Library World. So I am very excited. I'm going to go work at the Bloomington Public Library. And before we moved down to Bloomington, I worked at a library for 10 years. So it's going to be so nice, like, oh, I forgot to bring a book to read for lunch. Whatever shall I do? I don't know. Go into the library and get one. So it's going to be really, really fun. Okay. So tonight we have this card for you. As always, I have linked the supply list with cardstock measurements in the description. So you can refer to that. Instead of going over everything first, I'm just going to kind of do that as I go tonight. We'll see how that flows. I think it might be better. The library world is happy to welcome me back. Yes, actually, my soon-to-be coworkers are pretty excited for me to start, so I will say that. It's really nice. This is my last week at Illinois State, and then I get a little week off, and then the last week of the month, we are heading on vacation with Kylie and the family. So that was already planned before I interviewed for my new job. So, hey, Lucia, you made it. Your alarm went off. So happy to see you live. Okay, so Paper Pumpkin. I know last week we talked all about Paper Pumpkin here on the Facebook page. So if you were around, this is familiar. The February kit the March, it's March, I just said that. The March kit, that's all closed, so that subscription period is over. So basically, every month you have up until the 10th of the month to subscribe for that month's kit. And then after midnight on the 10th, boom, you missed it, and you can sign up for the next month's kit. So next month we have All the Little Things is what it's called. And it's really cool. You cannot tell, obviously, in the picture, but I did see a video on the demonstrator only side of things. And these little flowers are like iridescent. They have some iridescent pieces to them, so they'll be all shiny and blingy and super, super fun. And also, they're including this free box organizer in next month's kit. And so basically it's a bunch of little strips that have the cutouts. If you've ever bought a drawer organizer, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that way it's customizable. So you can make it so that you can fit all your little ink spots that you get in Paper Pumpkin. Or my video keeps freezing on my phone. That's not good. This is not going to be really good, guys. I don't know what's going on with that. But so you can make it so you can do your ink spots, or you can make some of the things bigger and some of the things smaller, and keep your adhesives and scissors and tools in there. So it's going to be very customizable, and it's a free gift next month. So you have until April 10th to sign up. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you want to hop on the Paper Pumpkin bandwagon, and why wouldn't you, just go to the paperpumpkin.com. Let me see. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Just click that link, or copy and paste it into your browser, and subscribe now, because they don't bill you until the 11th when the cutoff happens. So, but if you do it now, then it's done, and you're good to go, and you won't have to go, wake up on the 11th and realize you didn't do it. So just do it now. Okay, enough about that. Let's get to the fun stuff, shall we? So all this week on the Facebook page, I will be featuring the watercolor shapes stamp set. It is a super fun one. I feel like I got it on sale, maybe. Can't remember. But anyway, I've had it for a little while and haven't used it a lot, as you can tell, because there's only a couple of stamps that are really, have any staining to them at all. But it's super fun because, as you notice, there's some variation in the shading. So it's one of those distinctive stamp sets where you just stamp it with one ink pad and you get some kind of variation to it. Super nice effect. But there's a lot you can do with it. Tonight we're going to be color blocking on one of those stamps. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go through everything. I'll introduce things as I'm pulling them out to use. So let's just get started. This is a new way of doing things. I actually got this idea from you, Lucia. I watched your live at lunchtime today, and I was like, she doesn't sit down and talk about everything right away. She talks about measurements as she brings things up. So that's what we're going to do. All right. But first, I think what I'm going to do is disconnect my phone and reconnect my. All right. Switch those around. Okay. Hopefully, let's fingers crossed, and we'll just, maybe this won't freeze now. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so starting with our basic card base. Wow. You guys, seriously. Oh, disconnecting, that kills the, oh, sure, because I'm using the mic on my phone. Silly me. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Give me a thumbs up or something. Hopefully we're all good on the audio now. Well, we've got a card base here of 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Scored it. Okay, good. You come back quickly. Good. Scored at 4 1/4. So give that a good burnish with our bone folder. Just a standard card base in the US. And I've got a piece of basic white that is 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside, and a little strip of our designer paper. This is the By the Bay designer paper. You can see it's got that cool gold foiled fishies on the one side. We're using the other side, but this particular paper, every piece has some shininess to one side, and then the other side is just flat color. I'm just using a little like 1/2-inch strip for the inside there. Oh, here's my first little tip for you guys. So I just knocked something over. So last night, as I was crafting, I realized my Stampin' Seal had run out. You can tell because it's got red on this side. I apologize for the video, you guys. It just keeps freezing, and that is not cool. That's super not helpful. Well, anyway, it's got this red on this side so you can tell that you're at the end of the strip. Also, it won't advance anymore and give you any goodness. So you just pop these two pieces apart, take that guy out, throw it away. And then we have our refills that you can get for less expensive than a whole new Stampin' Seal. But before you refill it, let me see if I can get this close. We'll see if this is going to work. Yeah. So there is a buildup of what I call glue boogers, adhesive boogers. Okay, good. The video's fine there. So it's just on my end that it's freezing. So you want to just grab all that, see, and get that off of there because it's going to continue to like build up and then it'll keep your roller from advancing. So every time I switch my adhesive, I take both of these guys and I just clean them off. If you really want to get crazy, you can get like some Goo Gone or something or some adhesive remover out and really go crazy because it does kind of build up all around this opening especially. And that is when, if you've ever changed one of these and you notice the new one is so super smooth and it just comes right out and you're like, why doesn't my old one work like that? Well, because there's adhesive buildup in there and so it slows it all down. So you go ahead and open up your refill. I think this is really cool how they've got the refills packaged in a Ziploc kind of container here, whatever they call it, because I feel like that probably keeps the adhesive good. So no matter if it's in too humid of a climate that's being stored in or if it's in too dry of a climate, it's not going to affect the adhesive really. So what I always do is you've got two little kind of hubs there and you've got two holes that are going to line them. I always align this back hole first and then it just pops right in. And you just pop them together and you're good to go. So I saved that just for you all. I'm like, oh, how nice. I'm doing a video tomorrow. I'll do that on camera. So a little bit of adhesive in each corner. And it's writing so smoothly now that there's no buildup on the edges. And we'll pop that inside. Okay, that's that part. Let's go ahead and do our designer paper. So this is the same designer paper that I used on here. I just cut a strip of it off the side. And this is, as I said, the By the Bay paper. This one is 4 3/4 by 3.5. And then the black piece that's behind it is a smidge bigger. It is 1/8 of an inch bigger. So it's 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. Really annoying, I know. Hate when we get into the eighths. But I really wanted just that thin black border. I wanted all the pretty colors to shine, but I wanted there to be a little definition. So I didn't want a huge thick border. And that one's going to go straight onto the card. And it's not going to be even. It's going to be a little over to the left because it's not completely, you know, the regular size. Okay. So now we have a piece of basic white. This is what we're going to go do our cool little color blocking on. This one is 4 inches by 2 3/4 and 1/8 of an inch bigger on that black piece as well. So it is 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. Oops, yeah, maybe stamp before we adhere things, right? Ooh, boy. Okay, so we are going to use this rectangular stamp. You can tell which other one I was using. So you know you'll be seeing a card with that cute little oval on it, right? Okay. And I'm using the kind of big block, this block I with this guy. You just really always want to make sure that your stamp is smaller than your block. Doesn't matter how much bigger or smaller, although if it's too big, I will say it gets a little unwieldy and hard to manage. But you don't want any part to be hanging over the edge because then you won't have the good pressure to make a good image all the way around. Okay, so we are going to start with the lighter color, which I really feel like is the mint macaron. Speaking of colors, well, I'll wait a moment. So I'm just going to ink that up. If you can see it, it's better this way. Just about halfway. Just directly on the stamp. And then I'm going to take our balmy blue, and I took these colors right from the paper. And we're going to do the other half with the balmy blue. And now that's all I did on my original card here. So you can see that line is very definitive and, pretty straight. I'm going to take a sponge dauber, and I'm just going to kind of blur that line a little bit. Then, anybody see where my white cardstock went? Well, this is a problem because I kind of need that. Seriously, it was right here, right? I'm not crazy. It was right here. Yep, I was going to say, got stuck to the bottom of my stamp case. Those stamp cases are so sticky. Okay, so when you have ink that's sat on your stamp for a sec, you want to re-moisten it. And so you just want to huh on it, okay? And that will re-moisten the ink. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball center it. Hello, Joan. Yep, you were right, Penny. Look by the stamp set. So see, there is a definite difference. I kind of muddied that line up a little bit so you get kind of more of that watercolor look. All righty. Let me grab my chamois. My chamois all got a nice wash in the washing machine yesterday. They're so happy. And my blocks all got a nice little wash in the sink. Everything's clean. My blocks were looking very cloudy and I was having trouble seeing through them. Thought it was about time they got a bath. Okay, so that is all with that stamp set for right now. So the watercolor shapes is really good as a nice background kind of anchor, so you can do that all in one color or multiples, or you can do multiple shapes behind an image, and it's a nice anchor for it. And then I'm going to take our decorative borders, and I think you can see which stamp gets a lot of use out of this one. And it's going to get use again today. I really do love it. Again, I'm going to use this big block because, as you can see, this stamp actually kind of covers, it looks like it's skinny, but it covers a lot of area there, doesn't it? And it's quite long. So, and we'll use our Memento Black. You could use StazOn as well. But Memento is kind of my go-to black. So this one, we are just going to kind of make sure that all of it, some of it will pop off of the color, some of it will stay on. It's all good. Oh, that turned out cool. Part of what I love about stamping is even if you really try, like every card is a little bit different. So that's cool. All right. And then, because there was no words in either of those stamp sets that I used, I have the Threw It Together stamp set, which is so fun. It's got lots of different sayings on it. You can totally check that out in my online store. But, really just a lot of good generic things, love things, support things, follow your dreams, grateful, all sorts of kind of something for everything. So we are going to use, yes, Sending You This Paper Hug, which is probably one of the ones I've used the most. So as always, I am going to line up my stamp because this is a red rubber stamp and I can't see through it. So I want to make sure that I get it straight. So I'm going to line the block up on my grid paper, and then I will kind of just eyeball. So I'm using that top line of the greeting, and I'm kind of eyeballing it so it's even with one of those grid lines. Okay. Then I've got just a little scrap of basic white. ink it up with my Memento. Oops. And then I will line the cardstock up with one of those grid lines, and then again, line my block up with one of the grid lines. And it should be straight. I love it. I think that has worked every time on camera, and I just can't believe that it really has. It's just amazing to me. So if you are watching and wondering, please know that you can purchase any of the products that I'm showing here in my online store here, and that link is also in the video description. So, and if you have any questions, you can drop me a comment or you can send me a message. Happy to help. So I do love that I'd mentioned earlier that the grand boys were over, and I love that they're into stamping. And that was one of the things that actually made me fall in love with this hobby, was when I started 20 years ago. My youngest was 5, which is how old Jeffrey is. And it was like the hobby that I'd found, because I've always kind of been crafty. I've done some cross stitch, and I don't know, I learned how to chain stitch, crochet, and that was about all I did with that. But you know, I've kind of done some things. I've dabbled in some sewing, but anything I ever did and tried to teach the kids, I had to constantly help them, and I could never craft along with them. And when I found stamping, I found that I could actually craft next to them, and I could get something done and they could get something done. So Kylie, who was about 12 or 13 at the time, she would, you know, make cards or scrapbook pages or things like that. She was old enough to really kind of design some things and do that type of thing. Cooper really would grab like one of my grid papers and just some of his favorite stamps, and he would just stamp on paper, and he didn't care about making a project. He just wanted to stamp. And I taught him very early how to clean the stamps before he switched colors and all that, and he was just great with it. So that's what sold me on it. We're going to pop this layer up on dimensionals. It's also really nice when I decided to become a demonstrator, then I could go out in the world and become known as Stamper Nan instead of Kylie's mom or Cooper's mom. Because I think we all know that feeling, right? Like I didn't know half of my kids' friends' moms' names. They were just whoever's mom, right? All right, so we're going to pop that one up on dimensionals. And then I will grab my scissors. I'm going to do this on a slant. Now, I did this on my trimmer the other day, but what I'm going to do is flip this. Is that right? Yes, I'm just going to flip it over this way so I get the same angle is all. Because my trimmer is way over there, and I keep leaving you guys because I forget all my stuff. So I didn't want to leave you tonight. That's looking just a little thick to me still, so I'm just going to cut that closer to the words. See, you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment to do things. Just, you know, stamps, ink, paper, scissors. You're done. That's awesome, Lucia. Your boys were about the same age. It's just such a good little hobby, and it's so easy for them to grab onto. And I remember Coop when he was a little bit older. I had an open house for my customers. Now on this side, I'm just going to put a dimensional under this side of the greeting because it's going to lay here, but I want that side not to sag, right? So put a little bit of adhesive on this side. But yeah, I'd had an open house for my customers and had everything out. And when they were done, everybody was gone, and he came in and he said, "Can I stamp now?" Because all my stuff was out. So I had punches, and he was punching things and making cards, and it was just so fun. And I think he was in like middle school then, so you would have thought the cool factor had kind of worn off on that, but apparently not. All right, my favorite pastel adhesive back gems are back, or sequins. They're back, guys. I do love these, obviously, because I've used them a whole bunch. So clearly you need to add them to your craft stash. So they do have adhesive on them already. So you just pick and pluck, right? Pick and put. I don't know. I feel like that. Something. Do something. Boy, I don't know about you guys, but the time change has obviously gotten to me. It was more the having the boys overnight Thursday night and Friday night, and then the time change on Sunday. I'm wiped out. All righty, and there is our card. So you can see the bit of a difference between the two stamped images because I muddied that line a little bit with this one with the sponge dauber. So, but otherwise, identical, pretty good. And as always, I have a couple of alternatives for you. So I've got an alternative that uses the exact same layout, but one of the other stamps from the watercolor shapes. So the same flower stamp, but this one I used the small oval, and I curved that flower stamp right along the edge of that. I love how that worked out. I just used a different sentiment. So this layer is a little bit smaller. I scooched this one in a little bit smaller too, so it didn't overwhelm the other one. Thank you. Yeah, it really does kind of just, add that little bit of zhuzh to it. Okay, and then I have one more to show you. And this one, I pulled out the circle stamp. And so because I pulled out the circle stamp, I did a different flower. This one's from the framed florets. And then I used those basic border dies to add a curve to the back layer as well. Really loved the way that one turned out. So all the same color scheme, obviously, same papers, same inks, same color blocking effect on all of them, just a little bit different imagery. So which one's your favorite? We've got 1, 2, or 3, or rectangle, oval, or circle. You could tell me there. So let's see. Oh, and also, thank you very much, Lucia. We're going to be doing some fun things over on Instagram this week, too. We've got St. Patty's Day coming up, so I'll be celebrating all things green and rainbow and gold and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you tune in over there. I am Stamper Nan on Instagram as well, so if you don't already follow me, come over and follow me. The circle reminds you of Jupiter. Ooh, cool. I do really like the circle, and because the circle dies, the graduation is just like that. It's a thicker black border on that one too. I just love a circle anyway. On a square or a rectangle card, I think it looks good. All of them, Joan. You're like me. I'm not choosing, sorry. Yeah, I do really like them all. I like the color combo. And again, that just came from the designer paper. So I really love how that works out. I'm glad you all like them. Let me talk to you for a second here. So hopefully you learned a little something new. Oh, Lucia likes the first one, the rectangle one we did tonight. All right, so we've got some good votes coming in. And surprise, I made them all, so I'm the winner again. So yeah, so if you've learned anything new tonight, if you picked up a new tip, a new trick, a new technique, anything like that, go ahead and share this video so that your friends and family can learn as well. And make sure you stay tuned to the Facebook page so that you can see more uses for the watercolor shaped stamp set. You're welcome, Joan. Glad you all could join me tonight. So until next Monday night, I am still Stamper Nan. See you next week.